Okay. See about taking this on a travel walkathon through Mendocino. We have some beautiful gardens here in Mendocino. Yes, we do. Owners spend a lot of time taking care of them. There is one of the rare things, an empty parking spot in the town, the village of Mendocino. Well, we do have this old place. I remember it was being remodeled. Quite a well-built, well-done job, too. Cooperative. Okay. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'll get out of your picture.
You're not in my picture.
Oh, that's good.
I'm just shooting the. Got to get the sign.
Yeah, they already got a picture of me in the post office.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get that matched up, do you?
I don't even think they do that anymore.
I change my hat every day so you can't find me.
I got another one, but it's black.
I'm not gonna say anything.
What other ones are like that more relaxing?
Pineapple, that's an indica, and the green ribbon is an indica, all the OGs are sativas. Sunset Sugar sativa. Few, banana strawberry,
Banana strawberry, you said pineapple, or the
blue dream, strawberry, white. This is like a dominant white Russian that's crossed with Asian. So
okay. Let's do the
blue dream. Okay, you get buy an eighth, and then you get a free grain.
Let's do the banana strawberry.
All right, you got it.
We're okay, but it tastes really good. Thanks very much.
Banana strawberry. Okay, so that is 37. It's outdoor. Sun-dried. Yes. Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Jude, I want to talk more about these pens. I have still more questions.
Okay.
I don't. This might be so elementary, but what is a the difference between a dab pen and your normal vape pen?
Well, this is the dab pens are just dabbing the oil. And God, you're asking the wrong person. You think anything about pens? Smoke?
Thank you.
But I'll
No,
get
but
my.
I'm trying to understand because I'm trying to understand the whole pen thing.
Okay, yeah, me too. Do you know?
You know, I just know dab, and everyone keeps coming in, and there's dab and dep and all this other stuff. And you know, I know dep's
I'm
deprivation.
asking you, like, we're talking about these pens, which are very sexy, and they're from a brand called Sexy Extracts, and they say dab pen, and I'm trying to understand the difference between a dab pen and a vape pen, and she's like, I have no idea. You know I don't smoke. I'm all about the oils and like the
Hey, Ashley,
whole
do you have any
plant.
questions? Oh, good. Could you answer a question? I can't explain the difference between a dab pen and a vape pen. So I'm going to put you on speakerphone, okay? Okay. Here we go. So this is one of my staff members, Ashley. Ashley, tell these poor people here, including myself, what's the difference between a dab pen and a vape pen?
You know, the real difference with the new sexy oil that we have is they are done in a cannabis oil opposed to the glycerin glycol base. So what we're getting is a more pure oil to hit opposed to the normal vape that is cut with a glycerin or glycol base to them. So these are going to be a little bit stronger, a little bit more pure than what you're used to. But other than that, you know, it's still a vaporizer in essence, but it's just a more pure and potent.
Okay, so there's really no difference between a dab pen and
So there's no difference between a dab pen and a vape pen. It's just that the oil is pure, the concentration of
yeah,
oil.
the
Is
particular
that right?
oil from this brand.
Exactly.
Itself is a more pure than the actual vaping with the glycerin or glycol base, so it's just going to be a little bit stronger than the
Okay. And then we have I should have brought that little piece of paper with me. 2-second draw gives you what? 2.5 milligrams of THC. Is that right?
This is the brand that it was, this is that it came in. It's super masculine looking, and the pen was like red or this. This is masculine colors, and I'm like,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
this is the closest thing to what
Bye.
I got. And this is refillable, which I like because I mean you're not.
So
throwing it
these
away.
cartridges will fit any of the other pens too. He just said this is dose specific, so a 2-second draw on it, and it's self-heating. It has its own battery. A 2-second draw gives you 3 milligrams of THC.
And do you know what kind of strain it is, or is it just not?
Well, the flavors.
Not the flavor,
Not
but
the
like,
flavors,
you
the
know what
types.
the flower
Well,
is?
There's a few things that are the flavors actually specify. Sour diesel. Okay. Here they are. Down here it says sour diesel and Skywalker are green and silver and blue and silver.
And I don't know
Dots.
enough to know which one of those is indicas and which ones are sativas.
Either. You're asking me all the hard questions.
You're all about education.
I am educated about medical, not recreational.
I'm asking about my medicine as a patient
Oh,
with
right.
a 215 card.
I gotta learn this stuff. I have to learn this stuff. I can tell you all about how the endocannabinoid receptors take the cannabinoids and how they apply them to. I can tell you all about that. I can tell you about dosing. I can tell you about.
Okay, let me see the color coding so I'm going to see what it is here. So these are the ones, these are the pens and these are the cartridges. So these are the ones you refill this with. Is that right? Oh, is that?
This one is absinthe, and somebody took one hit off of it, and he didn't like it at all. So if you want to buy this one, I'll give it to you for a really good deal. We'll just wipe the tip off with alcohol. He took one hit, and he says no.
Isn't it like the flavor?
No, he says that he smoked for years and years and years, and he was trying to quit smoking. And I said, well, why do you?
Why'd you buy a vape? I have another question. Do you have any CBD vape pens?
You don't want to smoke CBD, so you got to get rid of the cannabidiol into your bloodstream. So there's 113 known cannabinoids, and the CBD and the THC occupy roughly over half of the pie chart. The rest are all little tiny slivers of pie. So you're always looking for whatever you're dealing with. You're looking for the ratio of CBD and THC, which are the two dominant cannabinoids, and then CBD is an anti-inflammatory, and it doesn't go to the CD1 receptors in the brain through smoke, and even THC through smoke doesn't do that.
I have a company that, it's not my company, I've dealt with them, and they actually do CBD. I tried it a million times and I never really felt anything, but
Josie and Cricket from Santa Cruz Naturally Mystic, I had purchased one of their vitality oils, and it was just amazing. Like, I'm in love. And then
All of that has alcohol goes right in, and the best way to get that cannabinoid profile into the bloodstream so that it can meet the receptors and begin to kickstart your body's healing processes on a cellular level from the various receptors in your body is through the membrane of the mouth, through the oral mucosa. So, and not edibles. Edibles, as soon as you
different.
the digestive, the acids in the stomach degrade it, etc. So through the membrane of the mouth, you want to put a tincture on your tongue and swish it like crazy so it goes through the oral mucosa of the mouth and into the bloodstream. The same with anything that you can suck on, a lozenge, a sucker, anything that you can work through the oral membrane of your mouth, you're going to get a stronger cannabinoid profile into the bloodstream. Smoking, I don't know very much.
I have one of those. I have her focus. So you don't have the Bhutan line here today.
Yeah, these
Or
are
that
all,
is the Bhutan line.
yeah, it's the same medicines,
Okay.
just different.
So yeah,
ones.
I have this one in my house.
Yeah.
You guys didn't actually get to introduce you.
Yes, you did.
I mean, you know Jude's story,
I do.
You do.
but you don't know Kristen's
What's Jude's
story.
story? What's Kristen's story?
What is my story?
She have a story?
She works for the Teamsters and represents cannabis.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
She's like,
It's like, it used to be only UFCW was the only union, and now SCIU does, now Teamsters do too.
and the
It's good.
ILWU.
Oh, well,
It's just
good.
giving people choices.
Yeah, I understand a lot. Okay, never mind. We can talk what we want. So,
Jude is a die-hard socialist activist. You guys could probably have some interesting conversations if you got her some whiskey.
Trying to make her a capitalist so we can get advertising for our new show. Have you seen our new
he's
show?
trying to make me into a capitalist. Yeah, we do need to have advertising. You know, I have a television show. You know that?
No.
Cannabis News and Views on MendocinoTV.com. It's all archived. Every other Wednesday we get a new show. So next Wednesday we're going to do the shit show that's happening Tuesday at the new Kaya. The Board of Supervisors is going to be, bend over and get it in the butt because they screwed up their didn't they badly? They've admitted they screwed up the cultivation ordinance so badly that everybody who wants to make amendments or wants to do something about it is going to show up on Tuesday. And it's going to be a marathon from 9 a.m. on. And so we're going to have people from that Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday on the show Wednesday night. We've also had the Appellations Project we've had. We've also had Fort Bragg Mayor and the Public Safety Committee with a live studio audience talking about the Fort Bragg ordinance. And then we've also had Swami and Nikki doing the Swami Select thing. So every other week we have a new show, but it's all archived so you go back and see the old ones. Cannabis News and Views.
Nice. I knew you'd be up to something. Or 7,000 things.
Yeah, really. I was going to say, which one thing am I doing now? I wish I hadn't lost that person. I feel so bad about this. Anyway, so more questions. Just don't ask me about smoking. About smoking. Jeez. God.
Ask me anything. Not
I know.
Just ask me all your questions except for about this whole part of the table.
About smoking. Don't ask me. And you know what? I went to a medical conference. I go to medical cannabis conferences all over the country.
Yeah.
A month ago, I went to one in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. It was all doctors and nurses who were getting CMEs to learn about cannabis medicine, which is
awesome.
That's stepping
Finally, that is a step in the right direction.
There's like $150 to $200 in there. And it was all the people I knew from O'Shaughnessy's and the Society of Cannabis Clinicians and all that. And these doctors and nurses were sitting on this table and they kept, first of all, they had this sort of lucid translation of some of the science they were presenting because, unless you've worked with patients for years, really, how does this apply on a clinical setting? But they were so pissed that they never told a thing about the endocannabinoid system in medical or nursing school. They never told a thing about how phytocannabinoids exist in lots of plants and that all mammals have endocannabinoid systems.
And receptors on every cell.
It's almost, if I were a conspiracy theorist, it's almost as if the pharmaceuticals and the government made sure that we were as ignorant, as sick. Well, I already know that. We don't have a healthcare system, we have a disease maintenance system. Because they're the smartest guys in the room. They give you a pill and they create the need for 5 other pills, right? But that's a different soapbox. But I'm beginning to think, though, that they purposely kept this information from the public because it was just too expensive. It would have turned the whole healthcare paradigm on its head, which is what it's doing.
a
But
bit,
we're not
yeah.
going to survive. There's no way, because pharmaceuticals can't adapt to a dynamic living interplay of whole plant, chemical compounds, because they have to extract isolated chemicals, beat them to death, and put them in a pill so they have a uniform pill, the same pill on the shelf in Walgreens in Miami that's in Seattle. That's for the marketplace, and the marketplace will always rule over human health. That's the way it is. So, just don't ask me any else. So the Teamsters hired you to run their cannabis operations.
Next to this gentleman.
Right, I'm Terry. Yeah.
Oh, like ready. Now you can ready.
Okay, so I'm just starting with a shot on your sign, and I'm gonna pull wide and to the booth, and then I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Sounds good.
Okay, like I said, I'm gonna. Okay, we'll wait. Hey, okay, so I'm Terry here. Tell me a little bit about the name of your business and what you do here.
So we're the French Laundry Concentrate Company, and we're based in the village of Mendocino, and we do all solventless extracts, so no butane, no CO2 involved. And our main product is our hash, which is ice and water extract. And we also carry rosin, which is a further form of purification of the cannabis concentrate. And we're just doing some vending out here today at the local 215 Farmers Market.
Great. What's your name?
My name's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
no worries.
What makes your product different from the other products out there?
I'd say we've worked, it's been about 10 years that our company's been up and running, and we've worked really hard to find organic growers, locally sourced. I say that separates us a little bit, but also we like to put a lot of emphasis on the solventless aspect. We're just not using those butane and any forms of chemicals in our process. And we do reach the same THC levels as most of those products, so we're bringing a comparable organic product to the table.
So would you say mainly your market is recreational, or what we call just mainstream use?
Yeah, I mean the medical benefits of concentrate are huge, and that's what we've been doing for under Proposition 215 for the last few years. We've been selling as medical, and now we're transitioning into the rec market, and that's where we're going with the future of it. But as of now, we're medical. We're medical right now. So
Do you sell different levels of THC, CBD?
we don't carry many CBD products. We'd like to, but once again, we like to source from only organic and only locally sourced farmers, and it's hard to find a lot of CBD product locally. Besides that, our rosin tests in at like high 70s to low 80% THC, and our hash is testing in high 50s to low 70s as well. So, so certain batches, our full melt, for instance, we don't mess with. We leave it as it is because it tests so high, and we usually press our bubble and mid-grade hashes into rosin to up the levels of THC and bring a more pure product.
Okay, do you sell to the retail market, or do you sell just to distributors?
We sell to local cooperatives. We do a lot of our own distribution. So we're all the way from Northern California all the way to LA and Hollywood. We do have a few distributors, but once again, we do a lot of our own distribution, networking with cooperatives and vending to the businesses.
Okay, so that's the French Laundry, right?
Yep, that's the French Laundry.
Okay, so how can they contact you?
So we got an Instagram, and it's the French Laundry hash, and besides that, sorry, you caught me off guard on that one. Besides that, I mean, we've got a Weed Maps as well, and Weed Maps keeps an up-to-date profile of all of our concentrates and where the locations are that they are vended. And the Leonard Moore Cooperative is a great way to reach out to our business. We're all a family here, and so we work very closely together. So if you need to get in touch with the French Laundry for any reason, I would suggest calling the Leonard Moore Cooperative. Yeah. No worries. Thank you.
Lock that in. Excuse me. Let me step by you. Oh, there I would figure hang myself up. Thank you. We'll just, okay. Enough. I got enough out of that.
Testing.
Maybe by next year.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. So we're going to be talking with Brandon here at the Mendocino 420 Market, and this is a special interview for Cannabis News and Views on MendocinoTV.com. And what do you think about the sound? Oh, you want us to be focused too? He wants us to be focused too.
I have to excuse me if I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before.
Just no, you know what the key to this is you pretend it's just you and me and having a conversation.
Okay.
And you ignore that, you ignore this, and we're just having a little conversation, okay? All right, so tell me when we can go. Okay, so we are on Cannabis News and Views, and my name is Jude Tillman, your host, and I'm talking with Brandon. Brandon, hi.
Hi, Jude. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. So, Brandon, tell us a little bit. You're a vendor here at the Mendocino 420 Market. Tell me what you're vending. Who's your company?
We're Blazing Oaks. We're a family-run farm based out of the Snell Valley outside Hopland. We've been there for 3 generations. We're a true family homestead, and we're here vending some of our flowers today.
Oh, how wonderful. A true family homestead. What does that mean?
Well, it means it was a raw piece of land when we moved there about 30 years ago. So everything on the property was built by my parents and by myself, and now we're raising our family there as well.
So we have 3 generations on the same land that's growing in the Emerald Triangle. Some of the best cannabis. You're the people that the stories and the mythology is woven around. It's wonderful to meet you. Do you grew up on a cannabis farm?
Well, on a ranch. I didn't know it was a cannabis farm at that point. But yeah, my family has been in the region for a long time. My grandparents first moved here in the early 60s as part of the Back to the Land movement up in Humboldt. And then they moved down here along with my parents in the early 80s into Mendocino, and we've been here ever since. So we're actually going on 4 generations now. But my grandparents are unfortunately no longer with us. So only 3 generations on the farm now.
And were all of these generations all the way back to your grandparents growing cannabis?
Yeah, they were. They were some of the original people that moved up to Garberville in the 60s.
Do you know much about their history, like how they got started, where they get their seeds? How did that happen?
As far as the seeds and genetics, I'm not really sure. They moved up there originally as part of the Back to the Land movement, so they didn't move up there to grow cannabis initially. It just sort of happened over the years, I guess. And my grandfather was a retired aerospace engineer, so after he retired, they wanted to kind of get away from it all and settled on Northern California. And we've been here ever since. It was almost 50 years ago now.
Wow, this is fantastic. I had no idea, Brandon. I've seen you around the community, but this is so cool to learn this. So one of the things that I have a million questions now. So one of the things, but we'll start with you growing up in a cannabis family, and when did you realize that your parents were growing an illegal substance?
I started to suspect it when I was a teenager, but they were always very careful about that. They made a very big point that it was not something the kids could have anything to do with. So I was not actually allowed to help till I was 18. And I think that's a very sound policy. I don't think it's something children should be involved in. And same with our daughter. She knows we grow, but it's very separate.
And you're not involving her in it until it'll be her choice later, is that?
It'll be her choice when she's 18. Same with me.
So your 4 generations grew cannabis in Humboldt or in Mendocino County?
Humboldt originally, and we moved from Humboldt in the early 80s, shortly after I was born.
What is it like when you went to school as a child, and your friends, your playmates at school would say, "Well, what do your folks do?" How did you deal with that?
Well, my father always had a business. We've always had other
businesses and other sources of income. You know, we're a functional cattle ranch. We have been for 30 years. My father's had a business here for a long time. So it was never, out in the open, really. There was always sort of in the background, sort of an addition to everything else we did.
So when did your farm start producing cannabis for 420 markets and this kind of public market display?
Well, we've only really been public about it the past year or two. Once the permit program began and we were a little more comfortable about the legality of it and we could be more out there. So it's been relatively recent for us. Only since about a year and a half ago, really, that we've been public about it.
We're speaking with Brandon, who's a cultivator of craft cannabis here in Mendocino County, and he's a fourth generation cultivator. And so, Brandon, big changes going on, regulatory speaking. And how do you feel about the slow regulation and tax apparatus of the state and cultivation of cannabis?
It's been very frustrating. I think they're over-regulating it. They're overtaxing it. The rules keep changing endlessly. I think there's been a lot of very questionable things that the county has done over the last year or two that have made it very difficult for most people to be compliant. It seems like no matter what you do, as soon as you think you're almost over the finish line, they change it at the last second. And I don't know. The county government has proven to be very difficult and often inept to work with, in my opinion.
A lot of people are feeling that. Do you also, would you rather the black market were still here and we didn't even go in the direction of regulation?
I wonder sometimes. I guess we'll see. I mean, I never liked the secrecy and the risk of the black market, so I would much rather be out in public about it. Never liked having to hide it. But at the same time, the regulation is putting and will put a lot of people out of business, I think. It's not geared towards small farmers, and the county is not supporting the small farmers.
So, Brandon, you bring your craft cannabis here to the 420 market in Mendocino, certainly not hoping to score a whole lot of money, as anybody can tell. What's your main goal here?
Well, we always get to meet lots of interesting people from all over the world. It's always good to go out and meet other farmers. It's been really great that we can actually be more open about it. Before it was very compartmentalized because you had to be so secret about it. So we've met some really awesome farmers that are in this area that we never knew were even here in the last year. And, also just to get our name out there, get our brand out there. Helps a lot. So, and it's a lot of fun too. We enjoy these events.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But do you think that your brand, your farm, your cannabis can become a part of this $7 billion a year market that is California adult use and medicinal cannabis? Do you think you can actually participate in that market?
Well, we certainly hope we can, but again, the regulations are really what are preventing most small farmers from participating. You can have the best product in the world, but just due to so many of these hurdles, which are very, very expensive, many people won't, and that has been the biggest concern. Is we're not wealthy. We don't have $1 million company behind us. So if you can just endlessly throw money at it, then yeah, you'll probably do all right. But that's not very conducive to most of the locals and the small farmers here. The excessive fees are making it very, very difficult for a lot of people.
Well, I hope that you're able to make your voice heard to the electeds and the people who are creating these onerous regulations. I wonder. Many people are talking about throwing in the towel, that they don't think they can make it. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's become impossible for many people to participate.
What will you do?
Well, I'm not sure at this point. I guess maybe go back to catering or one of my previous jobs, but I'd rather not. I really love what we do, and I'd hate to stop doing it.
It's such a sad note. Let's end on a happy note. We're all here together. It's a wonderful little gathering of small cultivators and entrepreneurs. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you've got here on the table?
As far as our display, well, these are all photos from our ranch from over the last season. So, these are mostly from the garden, the cannabis, and these sort of showcase sort of the other The other things going around on the ranch, like I mentioned before, we have been a cattle ranch for 30 years. So we have cows, we have olives, we have pomegranates. We forage for mushrooms in the winter, and it's a lot more than just growing. And then here we have a little history of our region, the Snell Valley region, which has a very rich agriculture history going back over 150 years. It was one of the first areas to really, I'm sorry, it was one of the first areas where organic agriculture really took hold. Fetzer Vineyards started there, which is now the largest producer of organic wine in the world. It was a home to Mendocino Brewing Company, the first brew pub since Prohibition. And so, we have a very long-standing, rich history in that area with agriculture, in particular organic agriculture. And so we're trying to sort of, pay homage to that history.
Have you all thought about becoming part of the Appalachians Project or any of the ways that other small cultivators are starting to
Oh,
organize?
yes, we've been participating with the Appalachians Project, definitely. So I think that's going to be very important. Mendocino has so many unique microclimates. It's one of the areas that makes this place so amazing. So, you'll see very different expressions in plants than you would in Hopland versus, say, Willits or Laytonville. So,
Do you think you have a chance? Do you think that our small farmers in Mendocino have a chance of helping to create a market for these high-end craft cannabis products?
if the county allows us, absolutely. That is the single biggest hurdle. We have excellent product here. We're some of the best growers on the planet in this area, a lot of small farms. The biggest question is going to be, will the county actually come up with a workable program that's not going to put us all out of business? And that's a very big question at this point.
Yeah, it does seem to all come back down to that, doesn't it? What?
Tell us what you're selling here.
Oh, these are
Yeah, what, Brandon, tell us a little bit about what you're selling.
Well, these are hashish pre-rolls, so they are flowers ground up with dry sift hash, which is made from the trim and then blended back in. It's always the same strain to preserve the what we would call the terpene profile, which is like the flavor and the aroma. And they are in glass test tubes with a wax seal, silver ink stamp to preserve them. The larger ones have a glass tip, which can be reused, and a little bit of hemp wick in there to light them for a butane-free experience, just like you would want with a good cigar.
Nice, very nice. And these are all variations of that?
Yeah, we have the 3 different sizes that we like to do. These ones are actually a CBD hemp wrap that we've been experimenting with, and then the others are hemp papers.
Very nice, very nice. What? Oh, how much are they?
Well, at the farmers markets, we always sell them a little cheaper. So the small ones are usually $10, mediums are $25, and the large ones are $35.
Large ones are 35. Ooh, those are some nice looking cigars. Stogies, huh? Cannabis stogies. Very nice, very nice. Any particular bud you want to highlight? Guam?
Our favorite would probably be the Watermelon Rancher. This is one of our signature strains, which I actually bred over the last couple years. And smells and tastes like sour watermelon candy. And it took first in the Best of Harvest event that the Natural Cannabis Company put on in Santa Rosa last year, and it's placed in the Emerald Cup as well. So it's a very unique smell and flavor.
Would you hold this?
Certainly.
I gotta smell this. Oh, that's wonderful. Here, try that. Isn't that nice?
It's sour watermelon.
Yeah, it smells wonderful. Makes me want to eat it. It's really yummy. Oh, very lovely. Thank you.
We tend to go for very flavorful, pungent strains and a big variation. Every jar smells totally different and unique.
I don't think people understand. Back when in the 60s, which I do remember, it was all just ditchweed. It was all just marijuana, People don't understand how unique these different strains are, how vastly different in taste, in profile, in effect. They're all incredibly different. This is very interesting, Brandon. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Here we go. TV stars. All right.
Oh my lord, you're killing me.
We're hoping we're going to, did you want to use his first names or first and last names?
First name is fine with me.
First name, you don't care? No. Well, then let's use first names in both cases.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, I'm your host, Jude Tillman. This is Cannabis News and Views, and we are here at the Mendocino 420 Market. Happens once a month on Saturday afternoons, and it's a great opportunity right here on Ukiah Street for the public to come in and see cannabis at its finest. Is that not true? We're sitting here with a couple of the representatives of one of the finest cannabis companies in the region, I'll have to say, because it's not Mendocino anymore, is it? Let's get your names. What's your name?
I'm Aaron.
Aaron and
I'm Vincent.
Vincent. All right, Aaron and Vincent, thank you for being on Cannabis News and Views. So tell me, we'll start with you, Vincent. How long have you been working? Tell us, who's this company that you're working with here?
This is Madrone. Madrone, California is what we call ourselves. We are a group of, I'd say, probably 20 to 25 farmers based here on the coast of Mendocino. We have a farmer we work with in southern Humboldt and one down in northern Sonoma County as well. We are just a collective of, small batch farmers who work on heirloom strains, really trying to keep it small and family oriented. Really just trying to promote good practices. Really, we test all of our cannabis to ensure that there's no chemicals being used or pesticides, herbicides, things like that. And so I've been working with Madrone for about 2.5 years since the initiation of Madrone. I've been part of the team from the very beginning, and really it's just about kind of promoting the Mendocino area also. Like, we really want to make sure that the community of Mendocino is recognized for what we do, which is grow quality cannabis.
Excellent. All right, thanks, Vincent. And Aaron, add to what he's saying in terms of your relationship to Madrone and what you see Madrone's mission being about. And also, let me add another question on, which is, all right, we'll have to deal with that in a minute. Add another question on, which is, do you see Madrone being a part of an appellation system in this region?
I think it very well could be, to answer your second question first. I think that's what we're trying to promote, is to show exactly what the terroir is about. And the plant has a way of finding people, and I think this plant in particular has found its home here, and it's all about accentuating what we know and show everyone what we can do, to make it the truest medicine that it can be. As far as adding on to what Vincent has said, it's Madrone is very interesting in the sense that we are a collective, that it allows people with good practices to come underneath one banner and say, well, this is what we want the plant to be about. This is what proper expectations are, and being able to set that benchmark. I don't think there is a better community to initiate that than the one we have here in Mendocino, for sure.
Well, then let me ask both of you a rather timely question. You're participating in a community event. It's a wonderful event where small craft cannabis farmers come together. And the question is, with all of the tumult in the county, with all of the regulations and the state regulations and all of the hoops that people are being forced to go through, do you see Madrone as a collective of farmers? Do you see you guys being able to survive? I'll start with you this time, Aaron.
I think we can. Whenever, by having the best product available. And whether or not that shrinks into a rather niche market or it has to do with the things greater at play is yet to be decided. But I don't think that it can go unrecognized, and I don't think in this community it will be. So I think we'll support everyone who's doing things the proper way here, and that's how we build together and create proper regulations for the entire county. There's no infighting, getting behind. And I think everyone that I've seen at events like this or with the CGA has that in mind, that this is supposed to be a sustainable idea.
CGA being California Growers Association. Let me make this a little bit of a sharper question, because that sounds all really fine and dandy. Everybody has good practices, everybody has good intentions, and we're all going to make it. But frankly, a lot of people think they're going to have to throw the towel in. And unless you have really big, deep pockets, like millions of dollars, to scale up to actually participate, Vincent, in this $7 billion a year California market, unless you've got super duper rich investors, usually out of state, or a ton of money yourself, that you really can't compete. So how would you answer that problem?
Well, I kind of look at it, and this happens a lot with what we call in this country of ours the free market capitalistic system, which I don't agree with at all. I'm not a huge fan of regulations. I'm not a huge fan of forcing people to have deep pockets. I don't like that. It's happened in the beer industry. If you look at a lot of the microbreweries in California have been bought out or now sponsored by bigger beer companies. It happens with farms. You have a lot of organic farms that get bought out by bigger farms. That is not what I want to see happen. And I think the more that we can try to stick together and fight back against big money and big corporations and show that if we come together in collectives and co-ops, that we can become big and we can support ourselves and still provide great quality products that will do better than some of these fat cats with their big money who come in and don't know what they're doing. We're going to still provide the better product. And I think that cream will rise to the top. And maybe we don't make millions and billions of dollars, but we don't need to in our community. We just need to make enough to survive comfortably and live within our means. And the more we do that and the more we support that and the more we show the world that you don't need millions and billions of dollars to survive and be happy. You know, you just keep it simple, keep it small, and keep it family oriented. That's what life should be about. And that's, you know, I love this industry because it gives me a chance to voice my opinions about things like capitalism and things like free market, where all it does is it only caters to the Donald Trumps of our world, if I may even say his name. It's almost like saying Voldemort or something. But I do believe that we can survive if we stick together. And that's one of the things I do think I like about the legalization movement is it has forced us to come out of the closet and has forced us to stop hiding from each other and to support each other and to come together. And the more we do that, the better.
Thank you, Vincent. Aaron, you want to add anything to that? And then I'd like you to give us a little tour of what you're offering here today at the fair.
There's not much more to add to that. I think Vincent covered it in totality.
Okay, Aaron, what do you got here?
One of our most cherished ones here is Viper Cookies. This is, as you can see down here, with everything that we sell, we have menus that state not only the THC, but CBD and also terpenes that are involved. So.
And I got an eighth of the Viper cookies.
Yes. Next thing we have here is Candyland. So another like 50-50 kind of clone, but mostly what we have here today is, or all we have here today is indoor. This is something called Red Dragon. It's our 100% sativa. Yeah, very up, get you creative, get things done. You get after it with that.
Now, Aaron, I have to ask a tough question. Some people say you can't be a part of an appellation system if you're growing indoor because you can't have the level of quality that you need to have that requires sun-grown cannabis. What do you think of that?
That's a debate for possibly another time. I don't have anything against sun-grown, and I know a lot of people that are sun-grown that don't have anything against indoor. I think that if you want to talk about terroir or the idea of appellation, I would suggest that just being this close to the coast and the temperate climate that we get in, year out, that there is something to the ocean and there's something to that fresh air coming off, 3-4 miles from where you're at. So I do believe it still has an effect, maybe not nearly the great effect that it does outside, but I still think there's something to it.
But it's not really pure terroir.
No, it's not. It's not the soil from outside being put inside. So yeah, there's a lot of other, shall we say, manipulations that aren't true terroir.
Yeah. All right. What else do you want to say about what you're offering today at this fair? Vincent?
Well, we're offering just the chance to show how we collaborate with a lot of people. All of our woodwork is done by Nikolai, which is a local woodworker here in our community. He works with all wood that is found on the forest floor. He doesn't take anything down to do his work, but he does everything from the grinders to the rolling trays to these tables to these little stands. So he's a huge part of it. We collaborate with Spark and Mike Strupp with these hats. So it's really about, we do a lot of collaborating with a lot of different people. And so for me, we're not just here to promote the cannabis. Again, we're here to promote Mendocino Village and the people in Mendocino. This is actually a very small representation of Madrone today. But again, it's just really about, we want to talk about, Jordy and Dane and Aaron and Mike and the different farmers that do what they do for us, and they're the reason that we're able to do what we do. Aaron and I are a pretty face behind the table, but it's really about the farmers that are providing the great product.
On that note, I think that's absolutely right. The pretty faces of Vincent and Aaron have just joined us on Cannabis News and Views.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you're doing. This is fantastic. I think it's wonderful that more people are as positive, as you are. And I know that there are some negative things that are happening. I totally agree with you on that. But I think if we can look at it from another perspective, and life is all about perspective, we can change the way things are.
All Good words. Thanks. Thanks, both of you.
Absolutely.
So you can tell the differences between these brands. What's our niche? There's like
She was working at Stone, so they said no, I went back and the big dog tried to get this out and there's no
Okay, we are different. We don't call it brand, we call it strain. Different names. So are you interested in knowing about the hash or the rosin? Or both? Okay, both. This is the hash. It comes in this one. It's like sour cannabis. We add water and ice and it's gently extract yes. So make it into powder form. See, that's what you know. That's what is the classic method that we have. Massage. This one is delicious. We just
Ratio for many people. So this is something you would take maybe twice a day, depending on how you respond and how you feel. That's everybody loves it. Oh, and the other amazing thing about this one is that we took the CBD and THC and blended those well with the biodynamic grape alcohol, and this is not going to last for me.
And it's a full indica too, so it's body buzz, mellow. We have that in grams and acres as well. Yeah,
That's a logo, that's a sick logo.
This is got espresso in it, so everybody's got to tell Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is Jude Tillman at the 420 Market in Mendocino Village on a beautiful, foggy August day. You're tuned in to Cannabis News and Views, and we're speaking with various vendors in the market. And Janae, why don't you give your full name and who you are exactly?
Sure. So my name is Janae Ebert, and I own Shine On Farms, and we're in Anderson Valley, and in between Boonville and Philo. And this is a little picture of our background. We're completely off-grid. We grow everything from seed, and have a great time doing it, and just believe in all of our organic and biodynamic practices. We have chickens and multiple vegetables that we grow, and have our own compost. So we're a pretty closed-loop system that we're trying to operate, and just having a great time being a part of the community.
All right, that sounds beautiful. I mean, chickens and biodynamic and organic and all of that. But let me ask you this: how are you making it in this new regulated market, or how do you think you will make it next year when you have to start having licenses and permits and all of that?
Yeah, the permitting part's, it's a challenge just because it's not anything that us farmers have been used to having to deal with and deal with the county so much, but it's okay, and it's what we need to do. And it's great to be finally recognized for our craft, and everybody's really appreciative, and people are coming around. And I think that the way that we're going to be able to survive is just being confident in our artisan products and what sets us aside from everybody else. When you go into a dispensary, you don't see much where you're seeing full sun from appellations in our county, which are very specific because everything that I grow from seed in Boonville, it's much more coastal than the inward part, like, Covelo, Laytonville. So it's just different, working with different climates and actually being recognized as a farmer and making our products stand out.
Absolutely. Well, you sound very optimistic about the ability of craft cannabis to survive in the new climate. Do you think that there's enough of a market already developed to purchase this high-end, very finely crafted cannabis?
I think so. I've noticed a lot of it lately. Just traveling around California, Southern California, the Bay Area, people are there's I think, a lot of more diversity of smokers these days. So it's my parents' friends from the wine industry that are now getting their 215 cards and going to dispensaries and very fascinated with edibles and salves, and they're now getting arthritis. And so they're actually looking at studies and seeing that we can help them. And even if they didn't agree with what we were doing 20 years ago, now they're finally, getting on board. So as long as we can establish ourselves as, I think, just Appalachians, and what, again, sets you apart as a different farm. And for us, I always hear it all the time. And you get a following, and it's great to see the same customers come back again and again.
Is that why you participate in this market? Because you can't be making a whole lot of money here, can you?
Absolutely. No, it's not about making money, but it's a local market. So it's my grocery store, my health food store is right here behind us. So the checkers are here, all the local business owners are here walking around. And so it's just, why not meet them? And they're my most regular customers. I see them once a month when I'm here. And it's great.
And do you sell your craft cannabis any place besides at markets like this?
I do at some dispensaries. So there's some in the Bay Area, some around here too in Mendocino County. So just trying to do the networking thing on my own.
Good for you. Well, so tell us what you've got going on here. What are you presenting to the public today?
All right. So today we have the Ringo's Gift, which is an amazing CBD strain named after Ringo Lawrence, who passed away. His children are now taking on his seed company up in Southern Humboldt called Sohum Seeds. So this one tested at 0.8% THC and 12.3% CBD, I'm sorry, that was backwards. 0.8% THC, 12.3 CBD. So it's a 15-to-1. So this one is not psychoactive. It's something that, you would want to take if your muscles hurt or if you're having anxiety, anything like that. But it's not going to put you out. You can still function for the rest of your day.
So it's more relaxation or analgesic?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. This one is just great for muscle relief, I feel. And then the headband, this one is more of an evening situation. So the Michu Dutel are the names of Leo, my former husband who's passed away, and then my middle names, both of our middle names. And so these were the seeds that we started out of an OG Kush and a Sour Diesel back in about 2008. So we just decided to name them after our grandparents' last names, which happen to be our middle names, and just kind of pay homage to our ancestors and why we're doing what we're doing.
So many people do not grow from seeds, so that's really remarkable that you do that. And what are the challenges of taking your developing and creating new strains from seed?
It's fascinating. Well, when you start seeds, you got to start about 500 at a time to even have males and females to kind of pick from, and then trying to figure out what works with what. Is something that, I ask my other farmer friends, like, what do you think about this versus this? With the Michu Dutel headband, it just so happened that we had OG Kush and Sour Diesel seeds from our previous grows years and years ago, and so we just decided, well, we've got them both. Let's just start making our own, and then we can have like a proprietary.
So the reason you decided to grow from seeds is what?
Oh, just because I think that it's the most natural way to go. I mean, it came from a seed. Why would you want to just, I don't know. It seems a bit manipulative to just only grow from clones. So for me, I like it. I like the variety. And a lot of the land races that we do, like this next one, the Romulawi, is Romulan and Malawi. So it's two old African land races. And I don't think, people don't have clones of that. It's easier if you can just start from where it came from.
Well, this is my great fear, is that we've got generations. Whoa, bad. I'm so sorry. Let's cut all that.
That's okay. They're in jars.
Sorry. So
It's not even working anyway.
I'll take that from the top. So this is my great fear is that if the large investors and the large players who get involved in the cannabis market for adult use in California really take over the marketplace, that we will lose these strains. Is there any way that we can protect ourselves and keep these new strains that you've developed from seed? I mean, this is such a precious, the intellectual property alone over generations of what's been done here in the Emerald Triangle, we are at risk of losing that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the more that we as farmers can keep our own seeds and acquire them from our friends and then trade them and educate people to grow from seed. You don't need to go buy clones. Just start earlier. Start thinking about this in January.
But is that a trend that you see catching on? Because people need to rush into the marketplace is driving everything now.
Right. I think it's hard because maybe you can just have your mentality set on just working with the marketplace, or actually cultivate what you love to do and how you love to do it, and maybe the marketplace will follow. But if not, you know what, there's always going to be those high-end customers and clients. It's like the wine industry. It doesn't matter if you don't have a tasting room and you're by appointment only and you only sell $150 bottles of cab. There's still going to be customers out there that want that.
Incredibly optimistic. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Anything else you want to tell us today about what you're doing here? What's this one?
So this one is the Platinum Cherry Kush that we got some seeds from a friend of ours last year. So that one we actually just got trimmed recently. We try to keep everything in bins and not trimmed until we actually need it. We feel like it preserves it a lot better than trimming all at once after harvest and then having things dry out, get moldy, whatever happens with it. We just kind of trim and process as we go and keep everything just in our cold warehouse, and then it just goes into gallon-sized jars. So yeah, the Platinum Cherry Kush has been fun. It's new to me, so I'm just learning about it now.
So before we stop talking with you today, I'd like to get your opinion about, we're at a, whoops, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's either you or me. Mine sounds the same.
Okay, taking that from the top. I'd like to ask your opinion about, we're at a very delicate place right now with county ordinance, and they're going to be reviewing the ordinance next Tuesday and accepting a lot of testimony from cultivators about how to change it and amend it. Are you optimistic or pessimistic, and what do you think is going to happen next? What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping that the county is willing to just participate with us and just realize what's really happening here, and that we can help out a lot and make some tax money for the county that they clearly want.
Are there any aspects of the current cultivation ordinance in Mendocino County that you find particularly difficult, or?
Not yet. I guess it's yet to be determined. So far, so good. Everybody's been really great. Yeah, oh yeah, and with the ag department and everything, and we did it last year with the sheriff's department, so it's not my first time having to fill out application stacks this big and, do all that stuff. So, yeah, we'll all get there. It's a learning curve for sure.
I'd love to have your optimism. Well, thank you so much, Janae, for talking to us on Cannabis News and Views. You bet.
I gotta get her focused. It wants to focus on that sign behind you. Okay. Oh, wait.